return to the postseason after a gutty performance in their opener against the Angels. One run is home. Here comes Delino. Flying around third is Chu. He's being waved home. The throw down in time. Beltre with a 3-run double. And the Rangers lead it 4-1. As they've done during this spectacular run, the bats turn to the bullpen to seal the deal. That is a winner.
For the 7th time in franchise history, the Texas Rangers have clinched a spot in postseason play.
But they still have a larger goal to reach.
We still got one more game to go. We're aiming the division, and I think today was, a nice toast for everything we've been through this year, and ups and downs. But we're here. We never ever quit, and we'll be ready for tomorrow. Turn the page and win tomorrow game.
Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT Uverse TV. Well, last night, the Rangers punched their ticket to the postseason. Tonight, the Rangers and their fans are looking to upgrade to first class and be the division winner. Tonight, it's the Rangers taking on the Los Angeles Angels. And welcome in, everyone. Along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby with you tonight. And a big night here at Globe Life Park. The biggest night here since back in 2012, the last time the Rangers were in the postseason. Rangers trying to get one step further and not have to worry about the wild card. Tonight they can do that with a W. And they're leaning on Adrien Beltre. Beltre, you remember, was hurt 2.5, 3 months ago. Laid out for a little while, was anxious to get back in. Rangers were happy to have his leadership, but he wasn't Adrien Beltre. That's not true anymore.
That's not true anymore, Buzz. And we're going to show some statistics that bear out exactly what you just said. He came back probably a little too soon. His thumb and wrist hadn't healed yet, but they needed his leadership. They needed him on the field. He knew that, and he came back. In his first 31 games, with his leadership, he was only able to hit .246 and 1 home run. As he started to get healthy, as he started to get used to playing with that injury, it all kicked in. In the last 58 games, he's hit .330, he's hit 10 home runs, and he's knocked in 52 runs. You can't minimize what it meant to the team to have him back those first 30 games just to be on the field for his inspiration, in spite of what the numbers might have meant.
Well, the numbers, the leadership, it all is in one package, and that's of Adrien Beltre, El Capitan, for the Rangers. And they'll continue to lean on his veteran leadership as they go down stretch further here this evening. And Martin Perez trying to overcome a few problems he has had recently. He'll lead the Rangers against the Angels coming up next. brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. The SUV Sign and Go event is happening now at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Great night for baseball. Rangers have taken the field. Before we get things underway, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Well, Buzz, the Rangers know they have 3 chances to get one win. One win, all it will take to clinch the American League West. But Chris Jimenez says there's no need to make this suspenseful.
Tremendous position for us to be in. I think the thing that potentially gets overlooked is the fact that we don't have to win all 3 games. If they happen to lose one, that works too. We don't want it to have to work out that way, but to be able just to win one out of these next 3, hopefully it's tonight we can come out and continue to take care of business. But just a great position to be in, and it's very exciting and fun.
And you can sense the wave of momentum that this team is riding, especially considering the win last night, locking up that playoff spot and giving them such a nice cushion to deal with. But no one taking anything for granted at this point in time, wanting to knock things out here tonight, Buzz. All
right, Martin Perez taking the hill, and Jeff Anderson sending the 9 out there. Now, Tom's going to tell you about the Angels lineup that will face Martin Perez.
Eric Ibar will lead off. He's a .429 hitter in this ballpark this year. Cole Calhoun is second, followed by Mike Trout and Albert Pujols. C.J. Cron, a .387 hitter against the Rangers. Rangers cooled him off last night, though. He was 0 for 4. David Freese is at third. Shane Victorino is in left field. The catcher, Carlos Perez, will bat 8th. And batting 9th is Johnny Giovitella, who's been a .421 hitter since he was activated from the disabled list.
And that is Mike Socha's lineup that will face Martin Perez, the 24-year-old left-hander. Taking the hill at 3-6 with a .477. And the first pitch of the game is grounded up the middle by Ibar and into center field. Well, Ibar, who has swung at the first pitch virtually every time up in this series now, I think it's a base hit. And he is aboard to start off this first inning. Well, our progressive scouting report on Martin Perez. The one thing that he has had problems with lately when he's had a bit of a downturn, the bad inning. He has had an inning get away from him, allowed multiple runs. He will try and avoid that by staying aggressive and going right after each hitter in turn. And sometimes Martin gets a little bit too focused on the bad things that have happened instead of what good can happen. So he'll try and get that going a little bit better here tonight. And Chris Jimenez, of course, his battery mate, will try and make sure that the left-hander is focused where he needs to be. Cole Calhoun takes outside and low for ball 1. Calhoun, a .259 hitter with 25 home runs and 82 driven in. Angels come in with the lowest batting average in the American League, .246 as a team. And that pitch a little bit low. 2 balls, no strikes. Angels also in the bottom couple of teams and on base percentage. Mike Socha's club just a .307 on base average. That compares to a .325 average for the Rangers. Perez a check of first. 2-0 pitch is a swing and a miss. Well, Martin Perez coming off his last outing. It was down in Houston. Worked 6 innings against the Astros and had the one bad inning. Gave up a couple of unearned runs. In 6 innings, though, he was able to limit the damage to just that one bad inning. Unfortunately, he's paired up with Dallas Keuchel, and that was 2 more than the Rangers were going to get off Keuchel, it looked like. Rangers ended up losing that ball game 4-2, but Martin Perez able to retire after the double. 8 of the last 9 that he faced. 2-1 the count to Calhoun. Ibar away from first. Back and out of play.
One of the things the Rangers were able to do in last night's ball game is slow down Cole Calhoun. He was 0 for 4 and struck out a few times. They slowed down Mike Trout. He was 0 for 4. And they slowed down Ranger killer C.J. Cron.
Yeah.
So that was, I don't know if that was their game plan, but those are the guys that have been doing a lot of damage against the Rangers this year, and they were shut down last night.
Perez ready for the 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Martin with a breaking ball, and gone on strikes is Cole Calhoun. One away.
That's a slider. Breaking toward the outside part of the plate. Calhoun saw mostly fastballs in that at bat. Couldn't make contact with a slider.
The one gone. Ibar still at first. Mike Trout steps in, and Trout has gone 3 for 9 in his matchups against Martin Perez previously. Trout 41 home runs, hitting at .297. Takes outside for ball 1. Trout second on the team with 89 RBI. Albert Pujols with 92 is the team leader. One ball and one strike.
That was a pretty wise pitch right there.
Yep.
Threw him a fastball for a ball, and Trout, I'm pretty sure, would have been right on a fastball, but instead he got a changeup. Good pitch selection right there by Chris Jimenez and Martin Perez.
And that, for Martin Perez, his bread and butter against right-handed hitters, being able to throw that changeup. Got him on the fist that time. Well-located fastball, and it's 1-2.
Good combination. Changeup and then a good fastball in.
Perez faced the Angels back on the 4th of September. Lost to them out in Anaheim. Worked 6 innings in that ball game and gave up 3 runs. Rangers lost 5-2 that night. Now the 1-2 pitch to Trout. Got him swinging. Down in the dirt. Trout is disposed of. Back-to-back punch-outs of Calhoun and Mike Trout.
He didn't give him a chance to really get in any kind of a rhythm at the plate that time. He threw him a fastball, changeup, fastball, and then struck him out with a good changeup. And the fastball in that jammed him on that little foul ball sets up the changeup down and out of the strike zone. Trout was unable to lay off it. So very good sequence of pitches right there by Martin.
Yep.
And he gets a very, very good hitter.
Now he will have to deal with Albert Pujols, and Pujols did the damage last night. He had a double and a home run. So this would be a spot where Pujols is swinging the bat pretty well. Need to be a little bit careful with it. And the curveball starts him off for strike 1. Pretty good idea there.
First one he's thrown.
Pujols last night did a couple of pitches that were in. Hit them very hard. He hit a hanging breaking ball from Derek Holland for a double. Then he got a fastball in off the plate that he drove out of the ballpark. Base hit to left field by Beltre between he and Elvis Andrus. And Pujols going out and rolling one through the left side of the infield. So 2 on with 2 outs. C.J. Cron coming up.
Yeah, and that's Martin's game. I mean, he'll get his share of strikeouts, but his game is getting ground balls. And he's gotten a couple little ground balls, but unfortunately, both of them have gone for base hits. Ibar bounced one up the middle. That was a good changeup. Right where he threw the ball to Trout that Trout missed. Only Pujols was able to get the bat on it and roll it through the infield.
Probably the difference between a guy that's swinging the bat really well in Pujols and a guy that's struggling a little bit in Trout. Same pitch, completely different results for him.
Yeah, he got just enough of the bat on it to hit a ground ball.
Cron steps in at a .263 average. Fastball for strike 1. C.J. Cron, 16 home runs, 49 driven in. He has had the majority of the work at first base with Albert Pujols out defensively. Pujols struggling with that calf muscle pull. Strike 2. That was a well-located changeup. Nice Friday night crowd here at Globe Life Park. Sorry, Tom.
I was just going to say both those pitches were exactly where he tried to throw them. Fastball in, off-speed pitch, well out of the strike, right out of the middle of the strike zone.
Fans into it early. The 0-2 pitch coming. Line drive, base hit, right center field. Around third comes Ibar. He will score. C.J. Cron drives in the run, and the Angels have an early 1-0 lead. And Mike Maddox very quickly out to the hill to make sure that Martin Perez is able to rebound from that 0-2 base hit that he just gave up.
Well, he got ahead by making a couple of really good pitches. Both of them were inside. He tried to go away with his fastball, and he didn't get it far enough away. He got it right in the middle of the plate, and so that was definitely not his game plan. 0-2 to a guy that's going to swing the bat. You can get him to expand his strike zone and swing a ball out of the strike zone, and last thing you want to do to have success is throw him an 0-2 pitch like that. But every pitch you throw doesn't go exactly where you want it to.
That is the truth.
The hitter took advantage of it that time.
And while we have a moment here, let's take a look at the Ranger defense delivered to you tonight by Fred Loya Insurance. Now, Elvis Andrus, 9 assists last night. He was a busy man at shortstop. He's joined by Rougned Odor, Mitch Moreland, and Adrien Beltre at the corners, Hamilton, DeShields, and Chu in the outfield, with Chris Jimenez handling things behind the plate tonight. So a run across, 2 outs, and 2 on, and David Freese a check swing, strike 1 on the foul tip. Freese a .260 hitter with 14 home runs and 56 driven in. He's gone 3 for 6 against Martin Perez in past matchups. Good news for the Rangers, they do have Pujols at second, so there's a chance that it would take a double to score Pujols.
Well, same spot. No balls and 2 strikes. Cron got a good pitch to hit and hit it. See if Freese gets anything.
He almost got hit. Freese just leaning into that pitch a little bit, turning into that pitch. One of 4 third basemen, 25 doubles every season since 2012. Sandoval, Seager, and Beltre, the other 3. Freese a rock on the Angel Club. Is one they really depend on. Shallow right field. Chu coming on. Still coming and makes the catch. That will do it. Well, Perez gives up 3 hits and a run, but gets out of the inning without any further damage. We played a half inning. It's the Angels 1, the Rangers coming up. Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers lineup.
Delano DeShields is the leadoff hitter. He's first in the American League with 11 bunt hits this year. Shin-Soo Choo is second. Prince Fielder will be batting third. He's reached safely in 10 of his 17 plate appearances this homestand. Adrien Beltre is the cleanup hitter, followed by Mitch Moreland. Josh Hamilton, big night last night. A double, a sacrifice fly, and a great catch, will hit 6th. Elvis is 7th. Rougned Odor will bat 8th. And the catcher, Chris Jimenez, is hit .320 in his last 9 ball games. He'll bat 9th.
And that lineup to face the 32-year-old right-hander Jared Weaver. Weaver has pitching right now on reputation. His stuff is not what it used to be and what it will be probably in the future. He's had all kinds of shoulder and hip problems. Rangers need to be patient with it. And Weaver has gotten by lately, not only on guile, but on the ability to throw the ball close to home plate with a variety of off-speed pitches. And we'll see what the Rangers are able to do against Weaver here tonight. Weaver has not enjoyed pitching in this park, even when healthy. Slow breaking ball is outside to Delino. 2 balls and a strike. Weaver making his 37th career start against the Rangers. He has a 15-8 lifetime record with a 3.50 ERA, but in this ballpark, totally different. 19 starts, a 5-8 record. And his ERA here in Arlington is 4.70. Delino eyeballing his way to a 3-1 count, trying to get aboard to start off the Ranger first inning. And that is in there to fill the count. Delino leading off. Shin-Soo Choo, the Ranger right fielder, will follow. Rangers on a good roll offensively. Talked about what they have done in this ballpark especially. Payoff pitch inside, ball 4. And Weaver, who does not walk many people, he's had 11 walkless starts this year. And he walks Delino to start off.
That's one thing you'd love to see from your leadoff hitter, is a guy that'll take the 3-1 pitch to see another pitch.
Angel defense tonight. Cole Calhoun in right field, 20 assists since the start of 2014. He's joined by Trout and Victorino. Crone at first, Giovantel and Ibar up the middle, with David Freese at third, and Carlos Perez again behind the plate. Well, 1 on, nobody out. Angels into an overshift with Shin-Soo Choo up there. Only player on the left side of the diamond, the third baseman, David Freese, who is right at the cut of the grass and 25 feet off. Delino is picked off if that throw is anywhere near the bag.
He was. He was definitely going. You saw the stutter, little step movement with his shoulder towards second base.
Weaver, as you saw, and as Delino just saw, very quick feet. It takes a little while to get rid of the ball, but he gets his body in position to make a throw as quickly as any right-hander you'll see. Choo at 274. Snapped his 8-game hitting streak last night. Took an 0 for 3, but did reach on a walk. 21 home runs, 79 RBI. Takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Last 20 ball games, Shin-Soo Choo a 4.08 average. And you put together the month that Choo had along with Beltre's month of September. No wonder the Rangers were scoring runs right and left. Another toss to first. We're talking about Jared Weaver and what he has done this year on the road. This is his 15th start. 3-10 the record. 4th highest, or the highest I should say, ERA at 6.33. There goes Delino. The pitch is high and inside. The throw to second, not in time. Delino with his 25th stolen base of the year.
You could tell from that first move where he almost got picked off. He was wanting to go. As soon as he got a jump, he was gone. He got a jump, he was gone, and Perez's throw was not on target.
Delino, who began the night 6th in the American League with stolen bases, adds 1 to his resume. A ball and a strike, the count to Choo. And he pops it up. Shallow right field, Calhoun. Plenty of time to get there. Makes the catch. DeShields hangs on at second. 1 out. Prince Fielder now will come up.
Gets a hanging curveball on the inside part of the plate. In fact, right on the inside part of the middle of the plate. Just got underneath it. That's one, as a hitter, you go back and go, boy, I had my opportunity. He gave me the pitch to hit. Just got underneath it a little bit.
Well, here's Prince, a 3.09 average. That is good for 5th in the American League. 23 home runs, 96 driven in. Takes that big slow bender in for strike 1. On this homestand now for Prince, this is 5th ball game. In the first 4, he's gone 7 for 14, a home run and 5 driven in. There goes Delino to third. The pitch is high. The throw is not in time. And Carlos Perez looking over to the Angel dugout to say, okay, I got him. You might want to challenge that. And Mike Socia right up there on the top step, waiting for word from his replay review team as to whether they will challenge that or not. Socia still waiting. Here's what they will look at up in the clubhouse, and I think they might have a case there. They are going to take a look at it. It looked like Delino got slapped on the head before that hand got in. Yep, sure looked like it from here. So, headsets being put on. Gary Cederstrom, the crew chief, and Quinn Walcott, the third base umpire who made the call, will get the gear on, put themselves in contact with the replay command center back in New York. David Freese making that tag right on the helmet before Delino able to get that hand in. Here's the probably definitive view for you. Well, I don't imagine this would take too long for the official back in New York to render his judgment. Chuck Morgan, the director of in-park entertainment for the Rangers, letting the folks know exactly what's being challenged. The challenge issued to appeal the safe call at third base. Gary Cederstrom on the left and Quinn Walcott on the right over there. And again, here's the look at it. See Delino's hand a little shy of the bag when that tag is applied, and he is going to be ruled out. So the call is overturned. Clear and convincing video evidence did the trick, and Delino caught stealing.
The catcher has a much easier shot when there's no right-hand hitter. He's got a clear shot. He sees the runner going, no one in his way. Perez took advantage of that opportunity.
1 ball and 2 strikes now as Fielder swings through that last Jared Weaver offering. Weaver to the wind and misses down and in. 2-2. Brent still the top average in the American League against right-handed pitch. 346. Lays off that high fastball. 3-2. So if Prince can get aboard to extend this first inning, Adrien Beltre would get a shot at Weaver. Payoff pitch. Second walk of the inning. And Adrien Beltre will indeed come to bat here in the first inning.
Weaver in his last start was throwing a pretty good game. 5 innings, only gave up 1 run, didn't walk anybody. But he left after 5 innings. He'd only thrown 71 pitches. He had a 2-1 lead in the game. Evidently had a little stiffness in his shoulder. But in his last 3 starts, the longest start is 5 2/3. 5 innings and 4 2/3.
Beltre ducks down, lets that breaking ball pass by for strike 1. Adrien with the average at 285. Now that's as high as it's been all year. A 232 lifetime average. 82 at bats for Beltre against Weaver. 1 ball and 1 strike. Last night, what you look to Adrien Beltre for? Bases loaded, 2-out double. Clears off the sacks and gives the Rangers the lead they would never give back. Up here in the bottom of the first, man on first with 2 out. Popped him up. Giovatello angling out. Calhoun coming in from right field. Giovatello making the call and the catch, and that'll do it. Well, the Rangers get a couple of walks, but strand a runner. We played one in Globe Life Park in Arlington. Angels 1, Rangers nothing. The 2010 American League Championship pennant high atop the left field wall out there. We'll take you back to 2010. How about that game in Oakland, that afternoon contest, the pop-up on Neftali Feliz and the Rangers for the first time since 1999, celebrating a division championship. Michael Young and company getting it done over the A's that night, and got into the clubhouse and the champagne ritual. Boy, they enjoyed that. And they enjoyed it the next year, and they enjoyed it in 2012 to a certain extent. Looking to repeat here tonight. Martin Perez facing Shane Victorino to start off the second inning. And Martin fires strike one. Victorino overall hitting at .231 with a home run and 7 driven in. .215 as a member of the Angels. He hits a fly ball to left field. Hamilton started in. Now Josh retreating a bit. That is out number 1.
And the fastball changeup combination. Victorino had a good swing at that pitch. Fortunately, hit it off the end of the bat. That's why it didn't go any farther. Throwing strikes has not been a problem for Martin tonight. 17 out of 21 pitches have been strikes. Gave up a couple of little ground balls that found a hole, and then one bad pitch really was the 0-2 pitch that Croned him for a base hit. Other 2 pitches were pretty good pitches, ground balls, just found holes.
Now Carlos Perez, the catcher, now will step in. .253 average. 1 ball, no strikes. Perez, a big, strong right-handed hitter. Takes that pitch that floats in. Perez 0 for 3 last night with a walk. He has pretty much taken over the everyday catching chores for the Angels. Good changeup. 1-2. .359 is what Perez has hit in the last 20 games. Call strike 3.
Taking some good pitches.
Carlos Perez caught window shopping. Mike Scioscia's catcher down on strikes. 2 gone. And let's welcome in Jim Knox.
All right, appreciate it, Buzz. What a crowd here we have at Globe Life Park. Sellout crowd. And early in the week, another big crowd. Academy Award winner Matthew McConaughey paid a visit to check in on his Just Keep Living program. Also teamed up with the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation. talked to 60 kids, Buzz, about how to live healthy, and they had a good time. And to find out more, log on to TexasRangers.com/foundation. And speaking of keeping healthy, this lady brings cookies in the house for everybody. They are ready to wrap up this championship, especially this time. Woo! Holy cow, I got to get out of here, Buzz and Tom.
You got him fired up already, Knoxley. Little pop-up foul territory. Jimenez on the run, slides and makes the catch right in front of the entrance to the Ranger dugout. No, Martin Perez turns things around. A 1-2-3 frame after 1.5. The Angels leading the Rangers 1-0. You've got Mitch Moreland leading things off when we come back. You buy your Texas Ford dealers. The SUV Sign and Go event is happening now at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Now Mitch Moreland starting things off here in the second inning for the Rangers. Jared Weaver goes to work with that big breaking ball that hangs a little bit high and outside for ball one. Moreland tied with Prince Fielder for the team leadership in home runs, 23 of them, 84 RBI, and hitting at 280. Reaches out in front of a changeup and pops it up. Giovanni, the second baseman there. That is out number one. Weaver so far able to get Ranger hitters out on that front foot a little bit. Had a couple of weak pop-ups, most notably Moreland and Beltre. Shin-Soo Choo also had a fly ball to fairly shallow right field out in front of it a little bit. Now here's Josh Hamilton. 253 for Josh, the average. He takes strike one. Josh has started 3 of the last 4 ball games now. He's holding up pretty well physically, and Jeff Anderson said they will continue to get his workload going. Drives this one to left, and Victorino stationed pretty well and handles that for out number 2.
Yeah, the fact that Josh is able to play 9 innings in a ball game and do the things he did in last night's game, make that spectacular catch, crash into the wall, run the bases. He came up with a 1-run lead and had a long sacrifice fly for an insurance run. Shows the kind of things that he can do to help you win a ball game, and how important it will be for the Rangers to have him in the lineup as we move forward through the end of the season, hopefully well into the postseason.
Well, here's Elvis up there with nobody on and 2 outs. We mentioned the other day talking about Elvis against good pitching. Elvis has some great numbers, and Weaver's name came up along with David Price and some others. Saw the numbers for for Elvis against Weaver. And this is not a small sample of at-bats either. We're talking about 78 at-bats, and Elvis hitting over 300 against him. But I will stress again, this is not the Jared Weaver that we've seen throughout the last 7 or 8 years. Completely different pitcher right now, and Rangers will have to make adjustments. How tough is that, Tom, when you get a guy that you've seen a lot and all of a sudden he's completely different physically?
Well, I can remember facing Vita Blue one day when he didn't have his good fastball. You know, we didn't have a radar gun back then, and his fastball was probably, if I had to guess, 94 to 97, maybe sometimes a little higher than that. And one afternoon, it looked like he was throwing about 85 miles an hour. And you kept going up to the plate, even though you saw that, but you kept thinking, okay, here comes 95, here comes 95, and it kept throwing you off. That was just a one-game thing. I mean, the Rangers have seen him.
Oh, diving stop by Cron. He's going to take it to the bag, and not in time. Elvis able to beat it out with some hustle. We may have another challenge as Mike Scioscia on that top steps. And hang on here a second. I already won one tonight. Let me see if I can make it 2. Waiting for the word from his replay review crew. What a play by Cron, though, just to get to the ball.
Boy, I think we're going to get another call.
Yep.
Both of them a matter of inches. But both of them clearly seem to show that the Ranger player was out.
Yep. And he's going to issue the challenge. And I agree with you. I think this is going to go against the Rangers also. But Elvis, a lot of hustle, though, and only a great play by Cron. Prevent that ball from going down the line for extra bases. Yeah, it looked like it's going to prevent Elvis from getting on base altogether. Again, it has to be clear and convincing video evidence to overturn a call, and in both cases tonight, it appears that there's pretty clear and convincing video evidence that the call was not quite correct.
Well, there's incredible camera shots of both the play at third and the play at first, and it looked at the moment that the bag was tagged, or in Delano's case, his head was tagged with the ball, that the foot was, or the hand and the foot were just a matter of maybe an inch or two away from the bag. And with that incredible camera that we have, you can see that. I don't know what it would look like 15 or 20 years ago, but right now it's pretty much a definitive look at it.
And out, so the call is overturned, and the Rangers are 0 for 2 as far as getting calls upheld in their favor. So it turns out to be a 3-up, 3-down inning. Rangers gone, and we finish 2. The Angels leading the Rangers 1-0. Technology is a great thing. In this case, it really is. You can see the difference. Elvis Andrews called out at first on review, and on your left there is normal high definition, normal speed. What we had to work with before. You see, it's a good picture, but it's kind of blurry. On the right is with a super slow-mo. Notice the definition, how much clearer it is, and how much easier it is to pick out a play that's that close at first base or the tag on Adrien Beltre. It's slowed down to the point where there's no blur at all, and you can pick out individual grains of dirt, if you will, flying up in the air. It's just been an incredible advancement, and we're fortunate to have that capability in this ballpark all the time now. We really appreciate that. Well, here's the exact same camera. It's just one is HD or high definition. The next one is the super slow-mo on your right. What it can do, it's just amazing. That capacity, it's only been available to us since last August. This is our second year, first really full year of that availability. Ibar, a chopper right at Beltre, who winces as he catches that ball in that glove to left hand, and that still doesn't protect him real well. One out.
Well, Ibar's going to swing at a lot of pitches. Whether they're in the strike zone doesn't really matter. First time up, he found a hole with a ground ball. This time he probably hit the ball even a little bit better than he did the first time. Adrien braces for the impact and makes the play.
You never know it by looking at Adrien now. And the only way you can tell that it bothers him at all is when he winces like that, when it's just a natural reaction for him. He won't say anything about it. He won't show that it's a problem.
Here's the video I remember, Buzz.
Oh, yeah. Were you there that day?
I wasn't there that day. No, I was alive, though.
Yeah, I was, too.
What was that? 1954, right?
Yeah,
I was
believe
6.
So. Calhoun, a broken bat roller foul.
I don't believe we could have instant replay with that kind of camera.
That'd be kind of tough. I don't think StatCast would have been able to do much of that either.
Unless the umpire was off by about 3 feet. Then you might be able to tell.
Well, as the evolution continues, it sure is fun to watch it. And just a comparison from 61 years ago to what we have now, it's amazing. Cole Calhoun down on strikes, his first time up there. Martin just missing a little bit high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Calhoun 158 strikeouts now. That's 4th most in the American League. Last check, I think Chris Davis was on top. Still 1-2 on the foul tip. And Chris Jimenez going to give home plate umpire Lance Barksdale a little time to recover from that foul tip. Got him a little bit. Catchers tried to take care of home plate umpires. Home plate umpires returned the favor to catchers. A little extra time to get your wits back together. Ouch. So you want to be an umpire, huh?
I'd say he withstood that impact pretty well, to be honest with you.
He's still standing, which amazes me. All right, Calhoun back in. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Another broken bat. Broke 2 bats on that 1 at bat, and he's going to have an 0 for anyway.
And Martin has given up a run, but he's made a lot of good pitches. Through 2 2/3, he's had some good stuff so far.
Well, 2 outs. Mike Trout coming up before he steps in. Let's send it over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Yeah, the Twins and the Angels are tied a game back of the Houston Astros in that wild card race, the second wild card spot in the American League.
The other teams that are tied are Toronto and Kansas City for the best record in the American League. That could determine who plays who too.
That's right.
They're going to play somebody. They're already in the playoffs. They've already won their division. Who the opponent will be will depend on which one has the best record.
1-1 pitch to Trout, low and outside. Trout, like his predecessor in the lineup, Cole Calhoun, went down swinging the first time that he faced Martin Perez. 3 balls and a strike. Now, Trout batting third in the order, bidding to get aboard in front of Albert Pujols. Martin Perez, 40 pitches under his belt. 2 outs here in the third inning. Check swing, ball 4. Trout draws the walk, and that's something he does very efficiently. On base percentage for Trout, either at the top or very close to the top in all 4 of his years in the major leagues.
Trout's walked 91 times. The second angel in walks is Albert Pujols, who's walked 49 times.
And speaking of Albert Pujols, here he is. He singled through the hole on the left side his first time up. Oh and 1. Pujols last night 2 for 4, double and a home run, drove in a run, scored a couple of runs. He's now 3 for his last 5 times to the plate. Last 9 ball games, Pujols has hit .315. 1-1. I want to take you back last night, talking about the home run that Pujols hit out last night. A pitch off the plate inside from Derek Holland. And Tom, you were remarking not too many guys could keep that ball fair, much less hit it out of the ballpark.
No, he didn't get all of that ball. Derek got the ball in on his fist. He's just so strong. It still went far enough to scrape the back of the wall for a home run. But you have to say, you just gave up a home run on the exact pitch you were trying to make, really.
Trout driven back by a throw.
He also had been jammed on that pitch earlier in the game, and probably had filed that in the back of his mind that he might see that pitch again.
Yeah, and Derek Holland's not the first to give up a home run to Albert Pujols.
No.
559 of them in his career. 14th on that all-time list. Well, if his legs and body hold up for him, Albert going to put another 100 or so, 200 maybe, on the board. He has that kind of ability. Perez ready for the 1-1 pitch. Now 2-1. Fourth player all time with at least 14 90 RBI seasons. Joins Aaron, Ruth, and Alex Rodriguez. A lot of runs driven in. There's a lot of unhappy pitchers. To right field, Chu had a pretty good jump on it and makes the grab. That'll do it. Well, Martin works around the 2-out walk to Trout. The Angels strand a runner. We played 2.5. It's the Angels 1, the Rangers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. quite a few moments that have brought the team closer together, some in dubious fashion, but this happened down in July, down in Houston. You remember July 18th, the confrontation between Hank Conger and Rougned Odor, and Odor taking exception to what Conger was saying. Prince Fielder jumping right in the middle of it, then here comes the bench. And then the skipper, Jeff Bannister, getting right in the middle of it.
I like the guy in the back for the Astros pointing his finger. Look at this, Colin McHugh. He's brave. He makes sure he's about 3 people back, and then he's going to start pointing fingers. Get in the front row and point a finger, big guy. Look at that. Keep your hand down by your side.
Hold me back. Hold me back. And if we look back in the standings, the Astros were on top by 7 games at that point. Things turned a little bit. Matter of fact, the Astros had an 8-game lead over the Rangers on August the 2nd. Check swing roller foul toward the Angel dugout off the bat of Rougned Odor. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rougned, and Jeff Bannister's been asked about this a couple of times, and it just infuriates him about the edge that Rougned Odor plays with, that some people might take exception. And Jeff Bannister's comment is, I take exception to those people taking exception with the way he plays. As he loves the game of baseball, and he's a very aggressive kind of player. Sticking up for his second baseman.
A lot of teams have players who rub the other team the wrong way. That's just the way it is. Ian Kinsler used to be that for the Rangers. He was kind of a catalyst at the top of the order. Sometimes he'd rub people the wrong way, but yeah, it pretty much boils down to who cares. They're good players, good teammates.
Odor lines it to right. Calhoun on the run, reaches out and hauls it in. Well, Odor's bid for extra bases. A nice jump and a very good running catch by Cole Calhoun for out number 1.
Pretty good chance if he doesn't catch that ball that's a leadoff triple. You see Trout make these kind of plays in center field all the time. Calhoun makes a pretty nice play of his own right there. Keep that ball from going in the gap and bouncing towards center field.
Oh, 1 away. And 2 of the last 3 have now hit the ball pretty sharply. And Hamilton lining to left field, and Odor lining to deep right center field. Here's Chris Jimenez, a .258 hitter. Strike 1. Jimenez, in his last 9 ball games, has been a .320 hitter. He's gone 8 for 25. You notice the pitch speed range for Jared Weaver, nothing over 84, and a breaking ball as low as 64. Still a 20-mile-per-hour differential between the top and bottom.
Yeah, the one pitch that was 84, he humped up, got Adrien to pop up to right field. That was the 84-mile-an-hour pitch. Most of them are about 82.
Yeah.
But when the other ones are as low as 64, you still have something for the hitter to contend with.
Ball in the air to left field, left center field. Trout going back, still going back at the track. Makes the catch and bumps into the padding. Now Chris Jimenez driving at 405 feet or so.
The ball hit pretty well, nothing to show for it to lead off the 3rd inning.
Kind of get the feeling, you watch Mike Trout make that nice play, that Ranger hitters now have seen Weaver enough from both the bench and the plate to have an idea at least about the adjustments they have to make to him. Starting to barrel up a few balls. Delino to Shields began things tonight by drawing a walk. Had a stolen base, then got caught stealing third. And he takes strike 2 here. Delino came into play tonight with an on-base percentage of .342. That's probably gone up a tick. One ball, 2 strikes. Our Phantom Cam slowing it down for you. Did he hit it solid? Yeah. No vibration in that bat at all. It's the one where I imagine if you hit it, you don't even feel the impact. 2-2. Call strike 3. Weaver got the top of the strike zone. And Delino not able to pull the trigger. Rangers gone in order. Weaver now has retired 7 straight. We played 3 innings here at Globe Life Park. The Angels won, the Rangers nothing. Is with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, live radio broadcasts, and a lot more. Get MLB.com at bat today. Now we go to the top of the 4th inning. Martin Perez to the mound and to the booth. We'll introduce him in just a second. First pitch to Crone is ball 1. Mark McLemore joining us, as always, the doctor of defense. Okay, you got the defense down. Now, how about next half inning we get a couple of runs?
That's the plan.
That'd be okay?
That's the plan.
Okay.
That'd be perfect.
All right. I know you're just coasting through the first 3, just to kind of feel things out.
I got him right where I want it.
All right. Crone, the RBI single, his first time up. Took an 0-2 pitch that got a lot of the plate, drove it to right center for the RBI. Crone with that base hit now, 50 RBI for the year. And ball 3 is down and away. Crone, the #5 hitter, leading things off. David Freese, the 3rd baseman, will follow. That graphic told you Crone continuing to pester the Rangers. He and Mike Trout putting up incredible numbers against the Rangers. Crone, we've talked about him now, 19 RBI this year against the Rangers. That's the 2nd most driven in by an Angel player against one team. Still 3-2. Angels will run on 3 hits tonight. Rangers still looking for their first base hit. Had a couple of walks against Weaver, but have not been able to turn those into runs yet. Another payoff pitch. Popped him up. Good pitch by Martin. Moreland in foul territory. That is out #1. Well, Tom, you said it the first time when Crone, you can get him to expand the strike zone. And he did there, went up for a high fastball out of the zone on a 3-2 count.
Yeah, and Martin just threw a pitch where he didn't want to throw it the first time up. The 0-2 pitch was right near the middle of the plate. But if you keep it around the plate and a little bit off the plate, eventually you'll get Crone to swing at it. He's only walked 17 times. And he makes a lot of contact, too. He's not a huge strikeout guy. But the farther away from the middle of the plate it is, the less hard he will hit the ball.
David Freese leaning out over the plate and had to backtrack very quickly. Freese flied out to right his first time. Slowly hit to third. Beltre, nice convenient hop and to throw on the run from down under. 2 gone. Folks, I want to remind you this Sunday, it's the last game of the regular season. It's also Fan Appreciation Day. So come on out and join in the fan appreciation festivities. And be sure to get to the ballpark early because the first 30,000 fans will receive a voucher good for a free ticket for 2016. Just visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS to get your tickets. 2 up, 2 away. Shane Victorino. Fly ball to the left, his first time to the plate, takes inside for ball 1. Victorino, a .230 average overall. As an Angel, hitting about .212. He skies this one to shallow left. Andrus going out. Hamilton behind him, making the call and the catch. And that will do it. So 4 straight now retired by Martin, Perez, and the Rangers. 3 up, 3 down. After 3.5, Angels 1, Rangers nothing. You got Shin-Soo Choo leading off when we come back for the bottom of the 4th.
Come back from a 1-0 Angels deficit. And Shin-Soo Choo enjoying the clinch, the postseason clinch last night, but knowing nothing can be taken for granted, even though they are just 1 win away from the AL West.
Yeah, baseball's never know. Never not happen in the baseball. So, still, that's what I said earlier. We still keep playing next 3 games. We want to try winning 3 games. Playing hard, and then. Yeah, I want to enjoy it tonight after games. Yeah.
Hopefully a lot to enjoy after the game tonight. And Choo provided me with one of the neatest moments of my career last night. Guys, he came up to me after the champagne toast and the celebration. We were all getting interviews in the clubhouse, and came up and thanked me for being supportive when he was not very good early in the season, and for sticking behind him, for sticking with the team, and for continuing to encourage him and to talk to him. And just a really cool moment for me, and such a thoughtful dude, not just to members of the media, but his teammates, pretty much everyone he comes in contact with. So just a really thoughtful guy and a prime example of the good dudes on this team.
All right, Em, good stuff. Thank you very much. Now, Jew leading off here in the Ranger 4th inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Rangers trailing 1-0. Still looking for their first hit. And Jew drives this ball to left field. That is carrying well. Back at the wall. Goodbye. Shin-Soo Choo into the Angel bullpen. We are tied at 1.
Well, I opened the gates. I got the train going, didn't I?
You did. You got the train going. It just left.
Only thing surprising about that is that Trout didn't catch it.
Good thing about it was a left-hander that was tailing away from him. We got a pretty good angle from up here that it just kept tailing. And he may be fast, but not going to catch up to that one.
Oh, Shin-Soo just got underneath one the first time up, had a hanging curveball. Flied it to right field. That one he didn't get underneath. He smoked that one.
That's his 22nd home run of the year.
His 80th RBI.
Wow, look at that. Boy, that is some kind of opposite field power. Prince Fielder, speaking of opposite field power, or whatever field you want to go to. Prince trying to go back-to-back and swung through it. Hands are Alberto. He's trying to get out of that cage down there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Prince drew a walk his first time up. A 1-1 ball game. Rangers with the only hit of the night, and it happened to be off the bat of Shin-Soo Choo. Now, Fielder skies one to center. Ambling in is Mike Trout. That is out number 1. Prince retired. Adrien Beltre is next. Well, look at that. Guys up on the top steps, and yeah, along with Shin-Soo Choo. Before the All-Star break and after the All-Star break, no comparison. Totally different guy.
They got an OPS over 1,000 now.
That's amazing. Here's Beltre, speaking of amazing. Strike 1. Adrien popped out to second. Back in the first. No balls and 2 strikes. Last 20 ball games, Beltre at .425. Giovanella to the backhand. In the dirt and dug out by Cron. Well, that is out number 2. Mitch Moreland coming up. Let's go back down to Emily Jones.
Well, guys, I can tell you this now because he just hit a home run. But right before the game, Chu said to me as I was coming into the well, he said, "Emily," I said, "Yeah, what's up?" And he said, "1 flap or 2." And I kind of looked at Adrien. Adrien was down there, and I said, "Let's go 1 flap tonight." And he goes, "Okay, you got it." So he puts on the 1 flap helmet. Now he hits the home run, which I'm taking full credit for. But that's the reason he doesn't wear the 1 flap, is because it moves around on his head. That's why he likes the 2 flap. But I guarantee he's going to go with the 1 flap until he goes over. And I'm taking partial credit for it.
I think he should. He didn't ask anyone else. He asked you. That's pretty good. Could ask the batting coach. Could ask the manager. He asked Emily. She steered him in the right direction. I like that story. I think I like the one about Prince last night.
Yeah, I do too.
So he got caught. What did he say? He got caught speeding in a school zone?
No, he said he
couldn't run.
He's so fast he couldn't run in most school zones. Here's the Phantom for you. Phantom cam on Chu's home run. No wobble. No vibration in that bat at all.
Yeah, that got the middle.
3-0 to Moreland. Had the green light and topped it out in front of home plate. Pitch thrown out, and that'll do it for the Rangers. But they get even as Shin-Soo Choo hits his 22nd home run of the year into the Angel bullpen. We'll start things off. We have now finished 4 at Globe Life Park. Rangers won and the Angels won. Fair now at southwest.com. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Shin-Soo Choo evens up this ball game with his solo home run, leading off the 4th inning. So we move on to inning number 5. Never ever quit, the mantra here at Globe Life Park this year, and hopefully deep into October in this ballpark. Carlos Perez starting things off. It'll be Perez, Giovanni, and Ibar face Martin Perez. Pitch at the knees, and the count evens at 1-1. Perez caught looking at the third strike, his first time to the plate. Now 2-1. Martin Perez, since that first inning, gave up back-to-back 2-out hits, has retired 10 of the 11 or 9 of the 10 that he has faced. Elvis gets rid of it quickly. Carlos Perez shot down. That is out number 1. Johnny Giovanni coming up. There's Martin Perez, our Phantom Cam. You can see that changeup grip, that classic circle changeup. Thumb and forefinger making that circle on the side of the ball. And here's what it looks like from behind center field. Carlos Perez didn't like Martin Perez doing that to him. Giovanni takes the big breaking ball in for strike 1.
So Buzz, is a matter of pitching mechanics. When you land, is your front leg supposed to be stiff like
no
Martin Perez's is?
Well, his stiffens after he gets out over it.
Oh, okay.
It can stiffen up after you get it. It's not real good on your low back when it stiffens up, but yeah, it needs to you need to be flexed as you land on it so your upper body can get out over your front leg. 1-1 pitch. Shot foul outside third. 1-2. Giovanni, a 271 average. Martin Perez, 63 pitches so far this evening. 41 strikes, 22 balls. Working here with one out in the 5th inning. There's the line so far for Martin. Just the one walk. That came in the 3rd. 3 strikeouts, all 3 hits in the span of 5 hitters in the 1st inning. To center field, Delino to Shields. Camped out underneath it. 2 gone. No, that'll take the Angels back to the top of the order, inning by inning pitch count wise. 1st inning, not too bad, 19. He didn't let it get away from him. That was the important thing. He minimized the damage, kept it a 1 run. Then the 3rd inning, when he had the walk, but gave up no base hits. That was an 18 pitch inning. No, not bad. 11 pitch 4th, that helped. Ibar has walked and scored the only, or I should say, he singled to center and scored the only run of the game for the Angels. That was leading off the 1st inning. Last time up, a ground ball to 3rd. Ibar, the switch hitter, about 10 points higher is his average from the right side. Odor broke to the bag, or at least didn't break toward the ball very quickly. I don't know whether he lost the ball off the bat or what happened, but Rugdad only had a step and a half or 2 to go to his left and didn't get a jump on it at all.
That was strange. You know, I would have to say he didn't see it off the bat. That's the only thing I can think of. You see him frozen there. Didn't even really go to his right. He leaned to his right a little bit, but didn't really move. So that just tells me he just didn't pick the ball up. And then by the time he did pick it up, it was too late. Yeah, just that little lean to the right threw him off a little bit. And I'm just assuming he just didn't see the ball.
Yeah. No, 1 on, 2 out. Ibar with his 2nd hit. Here's Cole Calhoun. Ibar on the move. Pitch swung on and missed. There will be no throw. Ibar, a big jump. And he's had 2nd base stolen pretty easily. Ibar with his 15th stolen base of 2015. Martin Perez with that high leg kick that time, and Ibar picked the right pitch to get a jump like that on. 0-1, the count to Calhoun. Perez okays the sign, a check of 2nd. 0-2. Calhoun a strikeout in the 1st, a pop out to 2nd in the 3rd inning. And this crowd, which continues to grow tonight. Big crowd here at Globe Life Park. Near capacity, it looks as though. And they are starting to get into it. Folks coming out, they want to see the celebration unfold here tonight with a Ranger win. That time called. Calhoun tired of waiting. Calhoun, a 258 hitter. It's the Rangers this year, a 373 average. 14 RBI in 14 ball games. Now Perez sets. The 0-2 pitch. Roll to Rugdad Odor, has to come in a long way to get on the infield dirt. And he throws out Calhoun, so the 2-out single, no damage whatsoever. The runner stranded. We played half the ball game tonight at Globe Life Park. The Rangers won, the Angels won. Coors timeless moment back to the year 1996. October the 1st of that year, the Rangers played their first postseason game in franchise history. And they defeated the New York Yankees 6-2 at Yankee Stadium. How about that for a timeless moment for you? That was the opening of what turned out to be kind of a one-sided affair for the next few years, the Yankees and the Rangers.
It did. That was the only win we got those 3 years, actually.
Found out that play 162 games and have the best offense in the world, and all of a sudden you get into the playoffs and things change a little bit. Josh skies one to shallow right center. Ibar backpedaling now and makes the catch. So Hamilton pops out. One gone for Elvis Andrus. And our flashback back to October 1st of 1996. The late Johnny Oates. Juan Gonzalez. John Burkett spinning a dandy against the Bronx Bombers. That was a complete game, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Very nice. Juan was a one-man wrecking crew.
Did it again in 98, again in 99. So the Rangers did it. So did the Yankees. All 3 years.
Yes, they did. Oh, yeah, that might have been my only hit of the series, actually.
Drove in a run in that first game?
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah?
It was a lot of fun. Even though we only got one win, it was just
right.
fun being there.
Yeah. That one that Darren pitched here, that was a tough loss.
Yes.
He pitched a great game, boy.
That was when they came back, the first game back, the series tied at 1.
Yeah.
The extra inning ball game.
I had a chance to win that one.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a ground ball that was playable that Elster missed or not?
I'm not sure if that was the game or not.
Not that game.
But we definitely had a chance to win that game.
Elvis with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes trying to get aboard. Elvis shot one right down the first baseline that C.J. Cron picked off on a dive. And got Elvis at first after a replay review. Originally was called safe, and Mike Scioscia challenged for the second time in this ballgame. For the second time, the call was overturned. Ibar has the ball come up and go off the heel of his glove, and Elvis is going to be aboard safely. You just never know in the game of baseball.
And so it starts.
It looked like Ibar realized he was going to have to make a long throw from his heels. He just couldn't come up with it.
Well, the first error of the ball game charged to Eric Ibar. Elvis aboard, 1 out, and Rougned Odor at the plate. Elvis with a couple of stolen bases last night. And looking back, we were talking about Elvis and the stolen bases against the Angels. Every time he sees somebody in an Angel uniform, he starts running. Elvis has almost 20% of his career steals. Double play ground ball, and that's booted by Ibar.
That's one of those balls with spin on it, I think, back we saw the other night.
That's exactly it. Got in on Odor and had a little funny spin going out there to him. When that leather catches leather, it's tough unless you catch it a certain way, and you want to really catch that ball in the web. We'll take that one. I didn't like those. When those were coming at me, I'd be like, oh, my God. You know, those are really tough to catch. You see that spin there, it hit the dirt. And then it went in a different direction.
That ball hits right in his glove, but it just spins right out of his glove. Ibar, very solid shortstop.
Yep.
Back-to-back errors.
No, 2 on, still just 1 out. Now we'll see if the Rangers can take advantage of the 2 miscues. Chris Gimenez, the hitter.
The Angels lost a game coming into this series against Oakland, where they gave up 7 or 8 runs, and every one of the runs except 1 or 2 were unearned because they made four infield errors in that game.
Yeah, and that's almost unheard of for Angel teams. Now the crowd really getting into it. The power is back on here. The electricity is starting to surge through Globe Life Park as Jimenez takes strike one. Chris flied out to the wall in dead center field his first time. In these situations this year, Jimenez has hit .263 with 8 RBI. He has Andrus at second, Odor trailing at first. Takes the pitch outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. .32, soon to be 33-year-old right-hander Jared Weaver ready. Elvis going to third. The pitch is inside the throw to second, not in time. Double steal.
It's a great play by Rugi, not being lazy on that steal. A lot of times that trail runner, may think that the catcher's going to go to third base, and they may get not such a great jump. But with the first baseman not holding you on, you've got to get a good lead, and you've got to run like you're the only guy out there trying to steal a base.
A double steal. Elvis with his 24th of the year. Odor with his 6th. Now second and third with 1 out. The infield all the way in. A 1-2 count to Jimenez. Pulled foul outside third. That's a set play for Carlos Perez, right? When he knows where he's going to throw the ball.
Absolutely.
Before the pitch is ever made.
Yeah, when you get base runners on first and second like that, the first thing you tell the pitcher is, hey, or you tell the infielders where you're going. So you don't have everybody moving around in case they take off running.
Weaver with another 1-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Now Weaver, a huge strikeout, just his 2nd of the night. And there are 2 away now for Delino to Shields.
Yep, that side view shows the swing.
Oh, it's going to take a base hit from Delino now if Rangers are to score in this inning. It's a 1-1 game. Delino has struck out and walked this evening. He was called out on strikes in the 3rd inning. Left center field, Victorino moving to his left in time to make the grab, and that will do it. Rangers get a couple of errors, but Strand 2. We played 5. We're tied at 1. Mac, thanks for joining us. We'll see you after the ball game on Rangers Live. way to entertain your group from 12 to 100. Visit TexasRangers.com/postseason suite to get all the details and the exciting opportunity. A Tom Grieve follower, he brought his glove to the ballpark.
Attaboy.
He's got it there ready just in case.
And if you're about 5 or 6 years old and you've tuned in tonight and you've got your glove with you, still duck out of the way of those hard line drives.
Yeah. Or if you're 25 or 30, duck out of the way.
And you haven't played a little bit of baseball, use the glove to block it, but try to get out of the way if at all possible.
Well, Martin Perez going to work here in the 6th inning. Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, C.J. Cron, the heart of the Angel order. Trout tonight has struck out and walked. And Perez missing with ball 2. Angels a run on 4 hits tonight. Rangers 1 run on the 1 hit, the Shin-Soo Choo home run. Two-0 pitch, and outside goes ball 3. One of 2 players in Major League history with 100 runs, 25 home runs in 4 seasons before his age 24 year. Out of play to the right. 3 balls and a strike.
I was going for anything close on that 3-0 pitch. That pitch is actually a little bit out of the strike zone, but I'm going to try to get ready and hit that fastball if he could.
Now Trout has already established a new career high in home runs. Drives this one to right field. Choo along the track into the corner. A running catch for Shin-Soo Choo.
Wow, what a play.
Nice play by the Ranger right fielder.
I swear we're saying it every night how good his game is right now. On the bases, at the plate, throwing the ball. And that's about as far as he's gone to make a play all year. Into the corner, makes a superb play. He's on a mission to play the best baseball he can possibly play. Hopefully headed into a long postseason run. I think he's as excited as anybody about those prospects. What a play.
And Martin Perez gives Shin-Soo Choo his vote for MVP of the night. As the games have gotten bigger, Choo has shown up big in every single one of them down the stretch. Here's Albert Pujols, 1 out of 2. Takes ball 1. Pujols, a first inning single last time up, fly to right field. And that pitch a little bit low also. 2 balls, no strikes. Pujols on the all-time list. We showed you the home run list. He's 14th right now. You can also go on most any all-time list. You're going to see Albert's name right up there near the top as he takes strike 1. He's 19th on the doubles list. Had his 582nd last night. He is 1 away from matching Robin Yount for 18th place. Pops up a curveball, and that'll reach the seats over the Angel dugout. Pujols with 1,157 extra base hits. That's 12th all time. Perez to the wind, the 2-2. Odor from a deep shortstop spot. Long throw dug out by Moreland.
That's the longest throw Odor's had to make this year from deep shortstop. And as usual, if it bounces, Mitch Moreland's going to scoop it up. A nice play all the way around.
It's a longer throw than Elvis normally has to make.
Pretty nice play on that last hop. Long throw, no problem for Mitch. Well, you got 2 hitters, Trout and Pujols, to start the 6th inning. That's not an easy task. Now you got a 3rd one right now.
Yeah. C.J. Cron takes ball 1. Cron, the RBI single back in the 1st. Last time up, he fouled out to Mitch Moreland. Martin with a 1-0 pitch. Popped up. That's going to reach the seats right over the Ranger dugout. A ball and a strike to Cron. Cron's first inning single snapped an 0 for 11 streak that he'd been in. I mentioned getting a lot of playing time now with Pujols not able to play defensively. Cron in there most days at first base. 1-2. Martin still with a good life on his fastball. And the crowd starting a rhythmic clap for Martin Perez, trying to help him get out of this inning. 1-2 pitch. Now back. We really feel the anticipation building. Ranger fans looking forward to the post-game celebration after a Ranger win. Ranger bench Perez, another 1-2 pitch. And another foul ball. Martin Perez, a nice calm demeanor out there on the mound right about now. Back he comes and misses inside. 2-2 to Cron. Cron's already set career highs for him in his young career, 16 home runs. Hit only 11 last year during his rookie year. Pulls it on the ground to Elvis. To Moreland, and that will do it. So 3 up, 3 down. The heart of the Angel order retired in order by Martin Perez and the Rangers. We played 5.5 at Globe Life Park. It's the Rangers 1 and the Angels 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. Tonight's jackpot is worth $900 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Ellis Elliott from Arlington will win $900. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Ellis is going to win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic or restaurant. Shin-Soo Choo, who homered in his last at bat, tries to bunt to get aboard here to start the 6th inning. And it's fouled away.
Not a bad idea. Well, try to set the table for fielder Beltre and Moreland.
Angels have that overshift on with only David Freese, the third baseman, and he's 35 feet off the third base line. Our AT&T U-verse rewind will take you back to the 4th inning. Choo leading off, drives it to left center field. That was a laser that just kept going. Now he hits one deep down the right field line. Into the corner, it's a fair ball. Calhoun plays the carom. Choo busted it into second, in with a stand-up leadoff double.
Well, there's some great players, and there's players having good months of September, months of August, but I don't know that anybody's been better than Choo. He's just doing it all for the Rangers. That's the pitch he popped up the first time up.
Yep.
Kind of a hanging curveball, got underneath it. That time he hit it on a line, and let's see how fair he kept it. Quite a bit fair. Hit the grass out there. Came right back to Calhoun, who fired it in, but Choo's on second with nobody out. Rangers trying to get the go-ahead run here.
And you saw Choo coming out of that box in a hurry, and he had to do that. Calhoun played that carom very well. So Choo at second, fielder takes inside for ball 1. Think these guys aren't pumped up?
I think Choo is pumped up for the opportunity to play postseason baseball.
Yeah, I think you're right. Fritz 0 for 1 with a walk. Flied out to shallow center field his last time up. Trying to at least get Choo over to third base. And this is not going to get it done. He pops it up that Giovatello will take care of. 1 gone.
Well, Prince is trying to pull the ball right there. He knows he wants to get the runner over to third. He just got underneath it and popped it up. He had the right idea, just wasn't able to execute it.
I think that tells you all you need to know.
He was up there with the right idea. Got to pull the ball to the right side. You know, if you get it up in the air and hit it, great. Hit it on the ground, you move him over. That one, he just got underneath him, wasn't able to do that.
Well, 1 out now. Here's Adrien Beltre, who was popped out and grounded out. First breaking ball hangs low to him, and 1 ball, no strikes. Beltre 284, 17 home runs, 77 driven in. About the time of the game that Adrien, lately anyway, has been doing his magic. Got a little different cat on the mound, though, with Jared Weaver out there, who knows what he's doing. He gets as tough in the middle innings as Adrien Beltre does at the plate. Mike Scioscia, the veteran manager of the Los Angeles Angels. The pitch hangs inside to him, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Well, Beltre, you cut the season from April to July at 259 with 8 home runs. August through October, 323, 9 home runs, 50 RBI. 2-1. Mike Napoli sitting among the brain trust of the Rangers. Jeff Bannister and Dave Magadan. Weaver back to the plate. Just missed the outside corner. 3-1. You hear Weaver yelling up here. Alvarez and Morin loosening in the Angel bullpen. We'll go back to what Tom said about Weaver has not been able to get any deeper than the 6th inning into his last several starts. Outside, and Beltre takes the walk. That'll bring up Mitch Moreland.
The way Beltre's been driving in runs, I don't blame him for pitching around him. He doesn't think he pitched around him, but the way it turned out.
Now, before Moreland steps in, let's send it over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you.
Well, we played Chris Carter, a month ago, and he couldn't even get in the lineup.
Yeah.
Then he hit a home run. They kept him in the lineup, and he's been carrying them the last couple weeks. Got hot.
Now a quick visit to the mound from Mike Butcher, the Angel pitching coach. Making sure that Jared Weaver still got something left in the tank. First and second with one out. Mitch Moreland stepping into the batter's box. Moreland tapped out right in front of home plate his last time up. He's also popped out 0 for 2 tonight. He's got the go-ahead run at second base in the person of Shin-Soo Choo. Ball one is a little bit low. With runners in scoring position this year, Mitch been doing a pretty good job. 52 RBI and a 279 average. One ball and one strike. Moreland in his career 11 for 34 against Jared Weaver. Choo at second, being trailed by Adrien Beltre at first. A 1-1 ball game as we play in the bottom of the sixth. A high strike. It's 1-2.
He's throwing Mitch an assortment of off-speed pitches. To avoid giving him a fastball to hit early in the count.
Beltre with his lead with that running mitten on. Choo out in front of him. Pulled, one hop, flag down by Giovitella. The second for one, back to first, not in time.
That might be the stab of the year right there. You talk about a shot in the dark. One hop smash, and Giovitella made some kind of pickup on that play. Stuck his glove up and the ball went in it. Check the pitches out to Mitch. Pitch inside, changeup, slow curveball. Looked like a changeup. Mitch was out in front of it, but hit it hard. Giovitella goes down on both knees, sticks up his glove, and almost turned a spectacular double play.
He almost got his shortstop in the surgery center. Adrien Beltre was going down there making sure that Ibar couldn't make a throw, or a very hard throw. Here's Josh, who takes the first pitch low for ball one. Watch Adrien going into second base.
Mitch going hard all the way to first base, beat that throw to keep the inning alive, give Josh a chance to drive in the go-ahead run.
Hamilton is lined to left field and popped to short. Angels in the overshift. 1-1. Josh that time taking a shot at that hole that's created at the shortstop spot. David Freese, the third baseman, well off the line at third, but he still has to be close enough to the bag to prevent Shin-Soo Choo from walking 3/4 of the way down the line. Hit hard but pulled foul, and the count moves to a ball and 2 strikes.
Hey, some kind of play. I don't know how he caught that ball.
He may not.
That ball went in his glove, and he said, "Thank you very much."
Yeah.
I don't know whether he expected to catch that ball or not. I doubt it. He made a spectacular play.
Hamilton waiting, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Choo at third, Moreland at first. A 1-1 ball game here in the 6th inning. Inside, 2-2. Perez going out in front of home plate to give the defensive assignments. Freese now is even further off the line at third. He's over at the shortstop spot. The 2-2 pitch from Weaver. To center field, Trout going back, has room, stops shy of the trap, and puts it away. Well, the Rangers, a golden opportunity, go by the boards. No runs, a hit. 2 men are left after 6. It's the Rangers 1 and the Angels 1. Crone on an 0-2 pitch, line one over Rougned Odor into right center. An RBI single scored Eric Ibar. Crones was the 3rd hit of that inning. In the 4th inning, Shin-Soo Choo led off with his 22nd home run of the year. He hit this one into the Angel bullpen. That tied the ball game at 1. That's where we are as Martin Perez heads to the mound to start the 7th inning. He will face David Freese, Shane Victorino, and Carlos Perez. Angels will run on 4 hits tonight. That's all that Martin Perez has allowed. And he fires strike 1 to David Freese. Freese, a fly ball to right, a ground ball to third. 0 for 2 tonight. Oh, 1 pitch. Chop foul. Well, David Freese down in an 0-2 hole now. Outfield plays Freese maybe a step to the right. Infield shades him as a pretty much of a pull hitter.
Well, Martin has pretty much had all his pitches working tonight. I think through 6 innings, this is probably his 2nd best start of the year. His best start was back at the beginning of August against the Giants. He pitched 8 1/3, only threw 80 pitches. Ended up giving up 1 run in that game, almost had a complete game. And he's pitched some nice games since then, but I think under the circumstances, everything involved in this game, full house, this is probably his 2nd best start. He's made a lot of good pitches in this game. Pitching aggressively, pitching with confidence.
Well, the chopper foul. You saw him making sure his breathing was keeping up. Sometimes you get out there and you start holding your breath, and the body doesn't react very well to that.
Right around 90 pitches here in the 7th inning. Bullpen is getting loose. Get that leadoff hitter.
Jimenez with the signs. Perez with a 1-2.
Good pitch.
Tapped out to second, and Odor. Quick throw to first. That's out number 1. Next will be Shane Victorino. Folks, Rangers team stores are open year-round, and they're the best place for you to buy your Rangers gear. Official team stores are in Fort Worth's Sundance Square and the majestic Grand Slam shop out here at Globe Life Park. For hours and information, just visit TexasRangers.com/retail. There's some of that Ranger gear for you. Shane Victorino has twice flied to left field tonight. And Martin Perez able to drop that slower breaking ball in for strike one. Good changeup.
He's had everything working. Curveball, changeup, slider, fastball. Throwing a lot of strikes, a lot of quality pitches, carving through the lineup. Through 6 1/3 anyway.
Slowly hit to third. Beltre going to let it go foul, and it is, as it gets to the bag, just foul.
He reached down with his hand just in case it was fair to keep from having the ball go down the left field line for a double. Didn't think he could get Victorino at first, so he let it go. He sees the spin. He lets it go, but just in case, he reaches down to block it.
Quinn Walcott, the third base umpire, right there taking a look at it.
Well, that's a great shot. That ball is fair about 3 feet from the bag, and then it was fouled by about 2 inches. Good call by Quinn Walcott, the third base umpire. Right, Buzzy, right on top of it. And a smart play by Adrien.
0-2 to Victorino. Popped up foul. Mitch over to take a look, but that's right on top of the roof of the Ranger dugout.
Martin still throwing the ball well, 93 miles per hour with that last fastball. Victorino a little bit late on it.
Now, that's one of the things too, Tom. We remember back when Martin came up his rookie year 2013. A lot of fastballs were at the upper range of his velocity, 94, 95, early in the game, and then he'd trail off. He's learned now how to pitch and maintain his velocity throughout the game. Maybe not at 95, but at whatever he is capable of throwing. He gets a big strikeout here, Victorino, and they're 2 gone.
He gets this last hitter. He's pitched 7 innings of excellent baseball. Gave up the 2 little ground ball hits in the first inning and an 0-2 single. And since that time, he's given up a walk. And if you're going to walk anybody, you walk Mike Trout. That's the only walk. Being careful with 2 outs and nobody on in the 3rd inning. And then Ibar had a hit in the 5th inning.
Now Perez against Perez. Carlos Perez 0 for 2 against Martin Perez tonight. Martin has retired 18 of the last 20 hitters that he has faced. He misses low and away, 2-0. Just that walk that Tom was talking about, a 2-out walk to Trout in the 3rd, then a 2-out single in the 5th to Eric Ibar. That has been it for the Angels since that 1st inning. Martin to the wide, the 2-0 pitch. Broken bat roller up the middle, right there, Elvis. 3 up, 3 down. Nice job. That's 7 straight now set down by Martin Perez and the Rangers. Well, we'll take the stretch here at Globe Life Park in Arlington, a 1-1 game. Now let's join Chuck Morgan as he introduces God Bless America.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Will you please rise and remove your caps? In honor of the servicemen and women stationed at home and around the world, we invite everyone in Globe Life Park to join in singing God Bless America.
season tickets. Postseason tickets are available for potential division series games are on sale now. But if you place a deposit today, you can guarantee a seat for all potential 2015 postseason games. Visit TexasRangers.com/seasons to place your deposit today. Well, a near capacity crowd here at Globe Life Park, and they are seeing a very well pitched game here tonight. One of the principals, Jared Weaver, though, is finished for the evening as the Rangers come to bat here in the 7th inning. Elvis Andrus will face Trevor Gott. Right-hander on now. He's got a real good arm. 47th appearance for the right-hander, a 4-2 record, 2.93 ERA and a 2.38 opponent's average against Gott. Kind of that side-wheeling, slinging action. He fires strike one. Elvis reached on an error back in the 5th inning. He is 0 for 2 tonight. Inside and at 95 miles an hour. Gott popping that fastball. Trevor Gott came over in the Houston Street deal from San Diego. He and Street came over from the Padres. Tapper to third. Freeze on the run. Goes out Elvis. One gone. Rougned Odor will be next before he steps in. Let's send it over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Gott missing outside. Odor also reached on an error in that 5th inning. Another time up. He lined sharply to right field. A very nice play by Cole Calhoun. Took an extra bases away from Rougned. 2 balls and no strikes. And Gott missing with that pitch. 3-0. Oh, Rougned trying to get aboard here to start off this 7th inning. Mike Napoli has grabbed the bat, come out into the on-deck circle to pinch hit for Chris Jimenez. 3-1.
The good thing about this at bat, Rougned has seen 4 fastballs, so he should have a pretty good idea of what it looks like on this 3-1 pitch. And get out in front of one. Look for a good pitch. Let it go.
He did.
Yeah. Well, now you've had a good look at it 5 times. That last pitch right down the middle. And you've had your swing to get loose.
Gott just 23 years of age. He's a Kentuckian from Lexington. Into the wind he goes. And got him swinging.
He just said, here it is. 96 miles an hour. Kind of the Angels version of Sam Dyson.
Well, 2 outs, bases empty. Mike Napoli being announced as the pinch hitter. Mike Napoli this year as a pinch hitter has not had any luck at all. He is 0 for 8 as a pinch hitter for the Rangers. But he's also hitting better than 300 as a Ranger, too. 309. And Mike Butcher going to go out. Nice of Mike to go out there to the mound, give the crowd a chance to get that Napoli chant going. Knapp, of course, against his former team, the Angels, has just torn them apart over the years. Before we tell you about that, how about our Ford leaderboard? Biggest improvements in Ranger franchise history. This year, they have gotten 20 more wins than last year. 67 wins last year, 87 this year. The biggest improvement from 73 to 74, 27. And the first pitch to Napoli is in for strike one. Slow chopper to third. Freeze has a bounce off to his right. Napoli is going to be aboard with an infield single. And it will take the Rangers back to the top of the order. Well, Knapp with his first pinch hit this year as a Ranger. And it was a dandy. Got the job done. And the Freeze couldn't handle that last hop, and doubtful he could have gotten off a strong enough throw to get Napoli anyway. And Knapp saying, yeah, he was just scared to death of my speed. He knew he had to hurry. Mike replaced by an even faster runner. How about Ryan Strasburger? So Strasburger carrying the go-ahead run at first with 2 outs. Delino to Shields. 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Delino walked his first time up. He was called out on strikes in the 3rd. Last time up in the 5th. Flied out to left field. And Delino, a little pop into right field. Calhoun coming on. He was playing fairly shallow to begin with. Takes care of it, and that will do it for the Rangers. No runs a hit, 1 man left. We have finished 7 innings here at Globe Life Park. It's the Rangers 1 and the Angels 1.
Let's see, you got married yesterday to Lauren right here. And what happened, Jimmy?
Oh, we got married yesterday, and my mom told me that if we weren't getting married, we didn't get the tickets.
Oh.
So we had to get married just so I could be here to watch the Rangers clinch the division tonight.
Come to the big game, your mom said get married, and you get no tickets. There you go. Here's the bag. Congratulations. Anything else you'd like to say, Jimmy? Anything big?
I just want to thank my mom and Michelle for getting us these tickets, and I couldn't be happier.
What happens after the game?
If they win, something good, but if not, I guess we'll just have to go on back to the house.
All right, there we go, Jimmy. All right, good to see you out here. Congratulations, I guess. I guess that's a happy couple.
That's a new one. I hadn't heard that. You don't get married,
tickets,
you don't get
married. Okay.
Well, Sam Dyson has come out of the Ranger bullpen to take over, so Martin Perez goes 7 strong innings, just 1 hit or 1 run on 4 hits. Gives way to Sam Dyson, appearing in his 30th ball game. Dyson pitching now for his 4th consecutive day. He has thrown 1 inning in each of the last 3 ball games, allowed 1 total hit. Robinson Chirinos now behind the plate, taking over for Chris Jimenez. Now Dyson will go to work Johnny Giovatello to start things off for the Angels here in the 8th inning. A 1-1 game. 1 ball and no strikes. Drew Stubbs now in center field. Dyson okays the sign. Do it up. Giovanni tonight has flied to center and fouled out. Angels 4 hits tonight. The Rangers just 3 hits. Both starting pitchers now out of the ball game. Will have no decision tonight. Martin Perez 7 innings. Jared Weaver 6 innings. His counterpart.
That was a terrific outing for Martin Perez. All the pressure of a postseason game. Big crowd. Good team. And he answered the bell, boy, with his best stuff tonight.
2-2. We'll take a look at our Kubota power stats. We were talking about Sam Dyson a moment ago. 29 games with the Rangers. 2-1, a 1.23 ERA and 2 saves and 12 holds. Opponents hitting just .217 against him. How about 62 ground balls and 8 fly balls?
Wow.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Giovanni leading off the 8th inning. Line drive to center. Stubbs in a hurry. Drew there to make the catch.
Boy, that's one of the better hit balls off Sam in the air. Giovanni hit that sinker on a line. Fortunately, it was a nice jump and an easy play for Drew out in center field.
And Martin Perez, we were talking about the left-hander tonight. Very good job. Had some strikeouts early. Really did a fine job settling in, and not a lot of hard hit balls against him tonight. And I agree with you, Tom. That probably his best outing since that game against the Giants in early August.
Yep, I definitely think so. Good command of all his pitches tonight. Good fastball.
Now Eric Ibar up there taking strike one. Ibar turning around to bat from the left side against the right-hander Dyson. There's Martin next to Cole Hamels. Jonas Martin just to Perez's left. Chopper foul. Dyson out in front of the count. No balls and 2 strikes. The backswing get Robinson Chirinos.
Looked like it.
Thank goodness for the helmet.
Yep.
One and 0-2. Dyson to the plate. Down at the shoe tops.
Fortunately, he missed it.
Yeah. The one you want to keep off base if at all possible. He has that good speed. He already has a stolen base tonight. 1-2 as Dyson gets himself ready. Tapper down the first baseline. It's going to veer off into foul territory. And we'll come back and try it again. Sam has had 5 outings now since the 25th, since the Houston series. Worked a total of 5 innings, given up 3 hits. 3 strikeouts in those 5 outings. And 1 unearned run. Reading the signs from Robinson Chirinos. Another 1-2 pitch coming. Got him swinging. Changeup. Dyson gets the punch out. 2 gone for Calhoun.
That's been a good pitch for Sam. Throwing it more and more. having good results with it. See, the bat goes before the ball got there.
No, base is empty. Cole Calhoun has struck out, popped out, and grounded out. 3 of those at bats against Martin Perez. Calhoun now a .258 average and time called. Calhoun now 0 for his last 7. That is headline worthy when it's in this ballpark. Rangers into a nearly extreme overshift. Calhoun flares it out of play down the left side. Rangers in the infield have Elvis maybe a step on the third base side of second, and that's about it. Rougned Odor out there in shallow right. Outfield just about straight away. Over 47,000 on hand here tonight, and they are aching to make some noise. Another foul to the left. 0-2. Now they are rising to their feet. Globe Life Park is a dynamo. Torino's going to go out and talk to Sam Dyson. They're not able to get together on the 0-2 pitch. That's to be expected. Robinson hasn't had the opportunity to catch Sam in many ball games. Robinson was hurt for the most part for the first month that Sam was here. Now it's a matter of getting on the same page for pitch selection. Again, the crowd on their feet. 0-2 pitch coming from Dyson. Batting swing. That power sinker. Whatever the sign for that is, keep on putting it down. 3 up, 3 down. Rangers come to bat in the bottom of the 8th. You see Shin-Soo Choo, Adrien Beltre, and Prince Fielder coming up. 1-1 the score.
Rangers and Angels are all knotted up at 1 run apiece. This is the second of a 4-game series between these two teams to close out the regular season. Game 3 tomorrow, a day game affair on National Fox Network. Noon first pitch. There you see the couple of the proponents, or principals, I should say, in this one. Colby Lewis with his career-high 17 wins, taking on Albert Pujols. Hopefully a game that will be irrelevant if the Rangers can tack a few on here in the 8th and 9th, fellas.
All right, yeah, that would be nice. Jose Alvarez, left-hander, has come in out of the Angel bullpen. Second night in a row that he's come in to face the Rangers. And Shin-Soo Choo will start things off. Prince fielder Adrien Beltre to follow. Choo fouling it off to the left for strike 1. Our TXU Energy power player. You're going to recognize Shin-Soo Choo and his power. How about the ball into the bullpen in left center field? And then, how about the defense? Mike Trout deep into the corner. And Alvarez bouncing off the mound to take care of Choo. That's 1 out.
Designated hitter, Prince Fielder.
So Alvarez gets Choo. Now Prince Fielder will step to the plate. Fielder 0 for 2 tonight. A fly out and a pop out. He's also walked. Strike 1 to Prince. Fielder was the first hitter last night that Alvarez faced. Prince grounded out to second. Nothing in 2. Alvarez in 2/3 of an inning last night had that 1 walk and 1 strikeout. Adrien Beltre in that on-deck circle. Alvarez with the 0-2 pitch. Angel bullpen this year, a 3.71 ERA. Right in the middle of the pack in the American League. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Although in a little bit of disarray now, with Houston Street is unavailable. Cesar Ramos and Mike Morin. Mike Scioscia being forced to kind of go by committee as far as a closing.
Doesn't look like Joe Smith is available either.
No, he's been dealing with a sprained ankle off and on. Outside, Prince has worked the count back from 0-2 to 3-2. Well, Fielder trying to get aboard here with 1 out in the 8th inning. Adrien Beltre will follow. Crowd of 47,219, and they are making some noise. Alvarez with a payoff pitch. Call strike 3. Fielder caught looking, and that is out number 2, and that's going to be the last pitch that Jose Alvarez throws tonight as Mike Scioscia on his way to the mound, and he wants the right-hander Mike Morin to come on. Alvarez kind of a crossfire to Fielder, and Prince couldn't pull the trigger. So 2 outs, bases empty. Pitching change underway. Mike Morin coming in. We'll take a break at Globe Life Park, and we'll be back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Historic performances. You won't want to miss the 2015 postseason beginning on October the 6th. Go to MLB.com/postseason for a full broadcast schedule. Now 2 outs here in the 8th inning. Bases empty. Mike Morin, hard throwing right-hander with a great changeup on now. He's a 24-year-old out of the Kansas City area. Morin brought in to face Adrien Beltre with the bases empty and 2 outs.
And Morin's got a 5.50 ERA with a 2.40 opponent's batting average and only 3 home runs and only 9 walks. Must have gotten lit up a couple of times.
Yeah, those numbers don't
add up.
No.
Looks like it should be a 3.50 ERA.
Adrien tonight has walked in 3 trips to the plate. 0 for 2 officially. There's that changeup. Nothing in 2 the count.
Boy, that is a floater, too. 70 miles an hour. Looks like it's never going to get there.
Beltre 0 for 4 in his career in previous matchups with Morin. Again, and that's up the middle behind second. Giovotella throws out Beltre, and that will do it. Rangers end up going 3 up and 3 down. We have finished 8. It remains the Rangers 1 and the Angels 1 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Pins and needles here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Everybody watching this game, everybody here in this ballpark. 1-1 as we head to the top of the ninth. Dana Larson, though, here reminding you that we will have Rangers Live, the post-game edition, coming up right after the game. Mark McLemore, Pudge Rodriguez are here with us. We'll have their great expert analysis no matter what happens in this next inning or so. And if the Rangers do ultimately go on to clinch the division here tonight, we've got you covered with a team of people and all of the celebration that there will be on the field and in the clubhouse. So keep it right here for Rangers Live right after the game. Buzz and Tom.
All right, Dana. Well, we certainly hope that that is the case tonight. We can cover the celebration. Sean Tollison on to pitch the 9th inning in this tie ball game. The last time that Sean Tollison was in this kind of situation at home was back on the 15th of September. He came in against the Astros in a tie ball game. Ended up getting his 6th win of the year. 72nd appearance for the 27-year-old right-hander out of Allen, Texas. And the first pitch of this 9th inning to Mike Trout is in for strike 1. Dawson, you remember last night, closed out the ball game, his 35th save of the year. He faced Freese, Victorino, and Perez in that 9th inning. Trout 1 for 7 lifetime against Tollison. And hits the ball to right center field. Stubbs in a hurry toward the corner. It's slicing. He can't get there. It's down and off the wall. The relay throw coming from Odor. Not in time. Mike Trout, a leadoff triple.
That was an excellent relay play, too. Stubbs couldn't get to it, but Chu backed him up perfectly. Took the ball off the wall, hit the cutoff man. Rubnet's throw to third was perfect, but Trout, with his speed, was able to just beat it. Watch Chu back this play up. Catch it on a hop. Fire in. Strike to Odor. Strike to Beltre. Trout was safe.
Beltre playing possum over there at third, hoping to catch Trout slowing up a bit, but Mike Trout had no thoughts of that. He was fired up as he slides in head first. And our super slow-mo, that crystal clear shot of that play at third base, right down where the action was. Mike Maddox out to the mound now to have a chat with Sean Tollister. You've got Albert Pujols. The next scheduled hitter is going to be up there with Trout at third and nobody out. Pujols tonight is 1 for 3 and a single back in the first inning. Rangers will pull the infield all the way in with Pujols up there. Albert Pujols is 2 for 8 against Sean Tollister in his career. Tollister getting set. Trout down the line from third. Pujols drives one into center. That is going to be down for a hit. Trout will come down the line and score, and Albert Pujols has given the Angels a 2-1 lead. Pujols drives in his 93rd run of the year with that single.
Well, the Rangers had held Trout down for a while. He was 0 for 6 before that triple. Pujols was able to drive in the run. Tough part of the order to navigate yourself through. Fought off that inside pitch, didn't hit it that hard, just kind of looped it into center field.
And Kyle Kubica has come in to take over at first base. So the pinch runner for Albert Pujols. A 2-1 Angel lead. C.J. Cron up there with Kubica at first, nobody out. And Tollister fires strike one. Cron had the RBI single way back in the first inning. Since then, he has popped out and grounded out. Cron 2 for 4 in his career against Sean Tollister. 0-1 pitch instead is a toss to first. Kubica, Colleyville product from the Metroplex. Went to school down at Texas State in San Marcos. Tollister leaning in for the sign. He has it. And again, will drive Kubica back. Pop foul back over the screen and out of play. 0-2. Cron a .264 average. His RBI tonight was his 50th of the year. Also his 19th in his career against the Rangers. Dawson a check of first. He will go back over there one more time. The Angels now 2 runs on 6 hits tonight. They have so far put bookends on this one, a run in the first and a run here in the 9th. Cron able to lay off that breaking ball, and it's 1-2. The run here tonight, just the second in the last month that Sean Tollison has given up. Tried to get him to climb the ladder, and that was just a little bit too high. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
We're talking about Joe Smith. Looks like he's warming up in the bullpen, Buzz, so he is available.
Yeah.
Probably moved into the closer's role.
Side wheeling right-hander. 2-2 to Cron. Double play ground ball. Moved in. Backhand flip. They get one. Back to first. In time.
Unbelievable.
You will not see a more athletic play than that.
Wow. How can a guy 6'2" and about 200 pounds show that kind of agility? Odor looked like he was going to have to go to first from his knees. Instead, he flipped a bullet to Elvis, who somehow avoided the runner and got the ball back to first.
That is amazing.
If the Rangers come back in this game, that could be a big reason why right there.
Well, base is empty now with 2 outs, and David Freese takes the pitch on the outside corner for strike 1. Freese getting his normal reception from the Ranger faithful. They do not forget, even 4 years ago. A little bit low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Referring, of course, to David Freese in the 9th inning in St. Louis in Game 6 of the World Series. Still painful for a lot of Ranger fans to contemplate. Tap foul, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. And again, the crowd rising to their feet, supporting their hometown Rangers. Tollison with a 1-2. Sean Tollison working in his 4th consecutive ball game here tonight. Out of play. Back the last time Sean Tollison worked 4 consecutive days, back at the end of July, a couple against the Yankees and a couple against San Francisco. High and tight, and that fills the count. Well, Freese working it back to a 3-2 count. If he gets aboard to extend the inning, Shane Victorino is being replaced by David Murphy in the on-deck circle. Payoff pitch. Call strike 3. Freese caught looking. He got put in the deep freeze. But the Angels get a run on 2 hits and nobody left. Bottom of the 9th coming up. Moreland, Hamilton, and Andrews when we come back. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By AT&T Uverse TV. Uverse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by your Texas Ford dealers. The SUV Sign and Go event is happening right now at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Ranger fans to saddle up this Ranger horse and ride it to the Western Division title. And they're going to have to do it in comeback fashion tonight. They trail 2-1, and they will face Joe Smith, who is taking over as the closer in the absence of Houston Street. Joe Smith, a 31-year-old out of Cincinnati, Ohio, to Wright State University. Originally with the Cleveland Indians, New York Mets, I should say, and then the Cleveland Indians. And now his second full year over here with the Angels. Mitch Moreland, starting things off, takes strike one. The Moreland, Hamilton, and Andrews. Moreland, 3 out of 7 in his career against Joe Smith. Backdoor breaking ball, and somebody put the lock on that door. 1-1.
Well, left-hand hitters have hit better against Smith than right-hand hitters, and you've got two good left-handed hitters coming up, Moreland and Hamilton, and if someone gets on, Odor.
High and away, 2 balls and a strike. Pitch tonight is reached on a fielder's choice, grounded out and popped out. 0 for 3. Batting average now at .278. 3-1. Pitch eyeball in the outside corner. Moreland, the number 5 hitter in the order, to be followed by Josh Hamilton. Angels in that overshift to the infield. Ibar, Giovotella, and Navarro on the right side of the infield. And Moreland pokes it out of play. 3-2.
Smith, to kind of counteract the left-hand hitters, he tries to run that fastball, tailing it away on the outside corner. Pretty good pitch there.
3-2. Center field, Trout. Waiting for it to come down out of the night sky. That is out number 1. Smith able to come back with a 3-1 count, get the fly out. 1 gone. Josh Hamilton will step in. Hamilton tonight has popped out, lined out, and flied out. Josh, over the years, 3 for 8 against Joe Smith. Also had a couple of walks. Strike 1. Rangers need a base runner to get that winning run to the plate here in the 9th inning. A 2-1 Angel lead. The Angels have out-hit the Rangers 6-3 tonight. Out of play down the left side. The count is now 0-2. Hamilton gone, and the Rangers now down to their final out. That good tailing and sinking fastball. Elvis Andrus will face Smith. Elvis 0 for 3 tonight. He did reach on an error in the 5th inning. Elvis 3 for 14 against Joe Smith. 256 the average for the Rangers shortstop. Strike 1. Pretty big gap in left center field for Elvis. Broken bat grounder on 2 hops to Ibar on the run. And he throws out Elvis, and that will do it here tonight as the Angels, in a must-win scenario for themselves in their wild card pursuit, down the Rangers 2-1 tonight. Angels bookends of a first inning run and a 9th inning run to take care of the Rangers. Rangers now will have to wait on the results from Arizona to see if the Astros go down to defeat. They're at this point leading 7-1 as they play in the top of the 4th inning out in Phoenix. So the Astros trying to take care of their business. Rangers losing 2-1 tonight. 2 runs on 6 hits for the Angels. 1 run on 3 hits for the Rangers. And Mike Moran gets the win in relief. And Sean Tollison in relief takes the loss for the Rangers tonight. Tollison his 4th defeat. Uh, 2-1 the final. You can join us tomorrow at noon on your local Fox station. Rangers and the Angels continue this series. Stay tuned. Rangers Live postgame is coming up next. And now, please sit back and enjoy our final take.